So your house feels cozy to you. Will buyers feel the same way? The answer could be the difference between sitting on the market and a quick sale. Let's talk about it. Times I have sellers who say, oh, I don't need my house staged. And I had one seller in particular, and I went to the property and I said, look, they already had a new place to go. They were moving. And I said, why don't you move? And then I'll take care of having it staged. And the husband looked at me and he said, what's wrong with my stuff? And I said, nothing's wrong with your stuff, but it will just be a fresh perspective on the house. But not only that, if we are staging the property and they already move, then I can call you a week in advance and say, hey, Joy, we're settling next week. Can you clear out the staging? We don't have to schedule movers. We don't have to worry about packing. We don't have to worry about any of that. That has already been done, and then the stager takes over.
Right.
But with that property, it was so funny because I called them the day that it was staged, and I said, can I FaceTime you? And they said, what's wrong? And no, I just want to show you something. And they're like, okay. And then so I FaceTimed them and they were like, no way that's our house.
Yeah.
No way that's our house.
And we love that reaction,
yes.
don't we?
And it was so great because the husband said to me, Jennifer, I get it. I get it now. I get it. And I was like, do you see? He's like, yes, it doesn't look like our house. It's just fresh. It looks like a model home.
Yeah.
And it's welcoming.
Right. And what we try to do is, because when you put furniture, art, and accessories in a home and you make it scale and design appropriate, people will stay. Mm-hmm. So the key is we don't want them to walk in, turn around, and walk out in 10 seconds. We want them to sit down, look around, and visualize, how am I going to live in this house? And when we set it up, there may be an awkward space. Mm-hmm. So part of staging is defining awkward spaces. So right. For example, over here in our corner, different little nooks and crannies, sometimes we need to say, this is what you're going to do here.
Right.
Right. And it really helps buyers get that, right. idea.
You bring in bar carts, you bring in all kinds of
so we have all kinds of little ideas and things that we can define,
Mm-hmm.
So this weird nook and cranny, what are we going to put here? Is it going to be a sitting area? Is it going to be a little bar cart, library space or a bar area? Or is it going to be, like, let's say in the basement, maybe there's a kid play section of the basement. If we know your demographic is a family, or, a yoga space, or let's say we want to show a work from home area.
Right.
Or during COVID, we did a lot of homework stations,
right.
Because kids were working or doing school from home. So it's just taking that empty space and giving people that warm connection so they will not walk through and leave as quickly, and they will look and get excited, because in person, when it's here, it gives people that good feeling.
Right, because they get to be comfortable, they can move in emotionally.
Right.
And even a lot of people will do virtual staging, and that looks fine online, it does.
Mm-hmm.
But when you walk into the house, buyers tend to get disappointed because it feels cold. And they're like, oh, wait a minute, let's pull up the pictures, because where did they have the sofa?
Right.
Where do they have this? Where do they have? So then it's taking them to a different place.
Yeah.
You want to keep them in the house and keep them comfortable.
Right.
So that way they know that they could live here and that this will work for them.
The virtual staging is just like my nemesis, because I see it all the time. I just got off the phone with an investor who literally virtually staged his house, 40 days on the market, no offers. People have been disappointed. They walk through and they go, wait a second, what's happening? They can't get excited. They just are like, no. So we will be staging it with real furniture, art, and accessories. And also, sometimes this happens, you need to show people where they're going to sit, where they're going to eat dinner. Okay, so he, as his property, sometimes they, typically a normal single family has a dedicated dining room. Sometimes properties that are, have been renovated or whatever, they don't necessarily have a dedicated space. So
right.
Showing that. So in general, showing those kinds of things, I think, help buyers.
Well, this property, before you staged it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the original owners, and they had the living room set up as a living room, and then the dining area, they had 2 recliners in there because they have an eat-in kitchen, so they never use the formal dining room because they use the eat-in kitchen.
Right.
So
okay.
and it just didn't feel as cozy. It kind of felt a little hodgepodge, but that's what worked for them and their lifestyle.
Right.
And our goal is to appeal to various lifestyles and the vast majority of buyers. The house shows in the best possible light.
Right. And you want to appeal to the most amount of people. So what happens is sometimes when people are living there and they have their own things, like you were saying, it's just they don't have it set up to appeal to the most amount of people. So and typically, you know, in a place where, like this house, where the living dining combo is so large, and then you have the breakfast area right off of it, it is a little confusing if it weren't staged.